Okay, romantic relationships are really tough. There's two kinds of conflicts. There's conflicts that are like little, I want him to like eat my butthole, like okay. And it's just like, say the thing. Welcome back to another episode of Girls Gotta Eat.
Welcome back. It's episode 202. We forgot to announce our 200th episode, and then we forgot to announce our 200th episode. So now we're 3 weeks out, and we wanted to announce our 200th episode from 3 weeks ago.
We made it.
We were so excited about our 200th episode. We literally had it in our outline. We were like, oh my gosh, what are we going to do for the 200th? Then never mentioned it. We did a solo episode, just the two of us, didn't bring it up.
This is crazy.
We were so upset about it.
We went ahead of time and like put it on the outline.
And then just never brought it up.
Well, guys, we made it. 202 episodes.
202.
We also forgot to acknowledge our 50th live show. We didn't do it till 51, right?
No. We did 50th.
Did we do 50?
50th was in St. Louis. So we're about to come up on 100.
Which we won't figure
that out.
San Diego, I think.
We think it's San Diego. Don't quote us on that.
Okay, this episode is brought to you by BetterHelp Therapy Online. For 10% off your first month, go to betterhelp.com/GGE. Start living a better life today. So it is very easy to get caught up in what everyone else needs from you and never take a moment to think about what you need from yourself. But when we spend all of our time giving, it can leave us feeling stretched thin and burnt out. And therapy can give you the tools to find more balance in your life, which we could all use. And you can keep supporting others while you support yourself at the same time. And therapy in general can help with so many things, but it's helpful for learning positive coping skills, how to set boundary, empower yourself to be the best version of yourself for yourself and others. If you're thinking of starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. You'll just fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist and switch therapists anytime for no additional charge. Super simple. It's really worth a try, guys. To find more balance with BetterHelp, visit betterhelp.com/GGE today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/GGE.
Listen, let's just address the Azul situation because I said I would address it last week. So last week during an ad read, this is why you guys don't skip them, I revealed that Azul has basically, I said the word verde. Rayna congratulated me for pronouncing it correctly. Okay, I'm learning Spanish. And it jogged my memory that Azul has a brother named Verde. A brother, I say that loosely. Azul has a brother named Verde and a sister named Roja and another sister named Rose. So if you know a little bit of Spanish, those are all Spanish colors. And here's the thing. I don't know how much I've talked about Azul's history. Basically, I got him from Animal Lighthouse, a rescue here in New York. He came from a shelter in South Carolina. He was seized from an arrest. This woman, I don't have all the details. She was arrested. She had her dogs in the car, and there was 4 dogs, not like the same litter. Like they're not technically brothers. Like the Verde doesn't look like Azul. I don't know what the sisters look like.
She just was like a color stamp, Spanish color.
But here's the thing. Here's the big mystery. We don't know if that was actually their names or the shelter did that, because sometimes when shelters take in a group, they'll name them a theme.
No! Like snacks? Yes.
One
of them could be like Dorito, Cheeto, Tostito.
Yes, Rayna, you get it. Literally, it'll be like, we have 4 new dogs, Butterfinger, Snickers.
What? This is a thing?
Yeah,
I can't believe I just learned this.
They don't always do it, but sometimes when they get a group in, they'll just keep them in a theme. So
one could be named like table, chair, and love seat.
I mean, probably not like that would. But yeah, snacks. They do snacks.
Snacks is great.
Colors, yes. So I don't know. Maybe they do like the Golden Girls. R.I.P. to Betty White. But
we're gonna talk about her later. Actually, a lot happened this week.
So anyway, that's the story, and it's so funny because they're here in New York. If you guys know where Verde is, if you know someone that adopted, like he was kind of tan looking, he was short haired from Animal Lighthouse named Verde, hit me up. Let's have a meet up.
Have like a
reunion. But I was thinking recently, like I never would have chosen the name Azul, but when Azul came to me, I didn't have another dog name picked out. And I think it's the cutest name of all time. It's so cute. I love hearing other people say it. I love hearing you say it. I love hearing my mom say it.
You think I say it weird. I
just think it sounds cute to hear other people say it. It's this short, cute name, starts with an A like mine. And it's just so adorable.
Just like you.
I never would have chosen it, but like what a cute, fun name.
I know, it's a cute little name. Well, hopefully we'll meet Rose and Roja on Verde one day.
They're here in New York. Rose, Roja, Verde, if you're out there.
Let's get brunch.
I saw a dog one time that looked like Verde at the dog park, and I was just listening. I was like, if they say Verde, I'm going to lose my goddamn mind.
Do you have photos of Verde?
He's on their Instagram. I'll pull him up.
All right. Well, I'm really hoping that this works out for us.
But that's Azul's history, if you guys know. And again, like when we did that big fundraiser for Animal Lighthouse, they were like, is there anything we can do for you? I'm like, yes.
Reunion brunch?
Find out what that woman was arrested for.
You've made up your
Give
own
me
story.
The arrest record.
Ashley wants the tea. Anything else we can do? The gossip.
Who isn't dying to know this tea?
I gotta know.
I gotta know.
All of these dogs just came marching on out of the house.
And then the mystery of like,
meth bust.
Yes. I mean, clearly it was meth looking at Azul's teeth. Clearly they were all doing meth together.
Azul was freebasing with Roja. Verde's more of a coke guy.
South Carolina. Yes, Verde. More. Oh my God. Yeah.
Okay. Speaking of, here's my leap. Speaking of Spanish, close to Mexico, Texas. We're in Texas this week.
Yes.
We are coming to Texas. Finally, you guys. The very first shows that we canceled at the beginning of COVID, Dallas and Houston. We're coming this week. If you guys are coming to the shows, please message us. Let us know some tea, talk some shit on the people you're coming with. Let us know if you are bringing any single hot guys. Get your sexts ready in your phone for us to maybe do some fun stuff with it. It's going to be wild. We released a couple new tickets for Houston. Maybe there's still some available, so just check the website always. And then that's it. We'll see you guys this week, and we have tons of tickets for shows coming up all over the country. And then, guys, we're gonna take a little break.
Yeah. So, I mean, not a permanent break, but we are just gonna take a couple months off probably this summer. So when we wrap up Toronto, whenever we get that date.
Last night, our agent told us allegedly he thinks he secured the date.
Well, it's also, who knows with COVID, I think by June, but it's looking like early June for Toronto. So again, you guys will know the second that we know. But prior to that, we are in Detroit, Pittsburgh, Indianapolis, Kansas City, and St. Louis. And then we are going to take a little bit of time off. As of now, that's our plan, and probably won't come to that part of the country for a minute. So again, we wish we could be everywhere, but we just can't be, and we're working on it, and we want to come see you guys in Omaha, for example, wherever it may be, but we just may not get to that in the year. So if you live close to like Kansas City, for example, that's a Saturday night show. I think, wasn't I telling you Omaha? Mm-hmm. I know we have
Ashley actually mapped it.
I mapped out Omaha to Kansas City.
People asked about Wisconsin.
Yeah.
We would love to go everywhere all the time, but we have like 20 more shows this year, and then we're going to take a couple months off from travel.
Well, also, I mean, depending on how large a market is, that's when we get to do like a bomb ass theater show, right? Yeah. So like, this is like behind the scenes. Yeah, we could probably go do a comedy club in like Omaha, but it'd be more bomb to come to Kansas City. We're doing this badass theater. We'll have a bigger, better show. So make a weekend out of it. I'm just talking to people from Omaha. Make a weekend out of it.
Maybe you're coming from Des Moines.
Yeah, Idaho.
Yeah,
Iowa.
I fucked somebody from one of those places.
Exactly.
I can't remember.
Idaho. Des Moines is Iowa.
I think he's from
Boise's Idaho.
He might be from Boise.
Recently.
Do you remember where he was from? Skinny one.
They were from Iowa.
One of them was from North Dakota.
That anti-vaxxer, it's a whole long story. Boise is from Boise. I just had a situation. I'm not going to get into it. But anyway, guys, keep it in mind. If you're close and you can make it, especially that Kansas City Saturday night, big theater, you got tickets to sell. Detroit, if you're close by, just make the trip.
Make the trip. You guys are asking about Ohio a lot. Come to Pittsburgh. Can't stress it enough. Come to Pittsburgh, Indianapolis, Detroit. Our shows are wild. They are my most fun night of the week, year, always. We just have so much fun. It's such an experience. Thank you guys always for coming. You can get all those tickets, girlsgeteatpodcast.com. We have merch there. We're going to have new merch pretty soon. Merch is a journey. So get the stuff that's there while it lasts. I think that's all of our house cleaning for now. Please leave reviews, 5 stars. Thank you guys. You've been leaving a lot. So please continue to do it. 5-star rating. You don't have to leave a review. Don't worry about it.
We're not reading them anyway.
Don't even read it. We don't read
hit
them.
that 5 stars.
A lot has happened in my life this week.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
So many things are happening. Elizabeth Holmes of Theranos fame was sentenced last night to 20 years in prison.
Wait, oh my God. I didn't see the sentencing. I just thought she was found guilty. They
found
did
guilty.
Sentencing?
It will likely be 20 years in prison unless somehow she can turn the verdict around, but she cannot. If you guys don't know, Bad Blood is like my favorite book. It's about the Theranos case.
One of my favorite songs also, the Kendrick remix.
They based the book on the song, actually. Listen, it's a financial crimes situation. If you guys like want to read an unbelievable book just about like a crazy
or
situation,
just watch the documentary.
Or watch it. No, it's my favorite book. Read the book, or watch the documentary on HBO. But I think it's a fascinating case, and I love to see people that medically tricked the American people going to prison. So that's really nice for me. I love that.
Love that.
Tristan Thompson. I know that we're like a couple days away, but listen, he cheated on Chloe again. I know everyone's surprised.
Not just
on his Instagram story that he did impregnate another woman. But listen, it's not indicative of how he feels about Chloe.
I mean, it's so crazy. Again, like we're doing this the day after the news came out, so it might be a little old news by the time this runs, and I might cut this, but we'll see. But it's just I was telling Rayna, this is going to come out wrong, but I don't care. How easy is it to cheat discreetly and not
cheat discreet? And I'm just going to put it on a t-shirt
and wrap it up. Like, cheat all you want. I think Chloe, if he was out cheating discreetly, not knocking other women up, she'd be there for it. She obviously doesn't care about him being faithful. Just don't get anyone else pregnant, and don't be up in the club getting hand jobs or whatever he was doing. Like, this guy is such a sleaze. Like, I also think, like, if you want to have an open relationship, have an open relationship. You know what I mean? Like, some people have agreements. It works for them. You know, you just want to be the number one, and you know that like your athlete boyfriend or your famous boyfriend or your regular old boyfriend might have side pieces here and there. Like, what he does is insane. Like, the impregnating someone else is just wild.
I have never seen behavior like this, and like no one cares about celebrity gossip more than me. I just think that athletes are like the top of cheating. But yes, to have like 2 women jerking you off in a club on camera is so crazy. You could do this behind closed doors. The point is that you are humiliating your partner just over and over and over again. Yeah, lots of people have open relationships, and they're like, I'm going to turn a blind eye. I don't fucking care. Yes. It's the father of my child. He can do what he wants.
Make it easy for me.
Yes.
Like, he's like, here I am again, baby on the way.
He's like, buzz, I knocked another woman up. Just get a vasectomy.
Right.
10 minutes.
It takes 10 minutes. I mean, it really is so crazy. And then he just does like a public apology to Chloe. I would be mortified. I would be like, keep my name out of your fucking mouth, because his apology, it said like, you don't deserve this and you've never deserved this for years. Just reminding the world of what she's put up with. Like, I just feel like further embarrassing her.
That's true.
Like, just leave me out of it.
Like, you didn't. Also, let's just keep it between us. Maybe we have private conversations about this. You don't need to tell everybody you're sorry.
I think it's just so, I mean, then people harass him for not saying sorry. I mean, it's a lose-lose on top of but you know, you fucked up. So you get what you deserve.
But I got to spend my evening during the commercial breaks of the new Bachelor trolling Tristan Thompson on the internet, which is one of my favorite things to do, and commenting on every gossip website, Page 6, E-News, everything. Fuck you, Real Tristan Thompson, at Real Tristan Thompson if you guys want to troll him too. It's really fun.
Tristan Thompson 13.
At Real Tristan Thompson.
Oh, that's what it is? Why did I say 13?
It might be 13.
What is that? What? Hold on. What is his handle? Where did I?
Real Tristan. Nope, you're right. It's Real Tristan 13.
Real Tristan. How did we got there together?
We got there together.
Also, if you guys are OG fans of the podcast, good afternoon to everybody but Tristan Thompson. I mean, we've been shitting on him since day one.
We are the OG shitters on Tristan Thompson. I can't get enough of it. I was commenting on E-News about it. Ashley's like in the comments, just like hyping me. She's like, go off, queen. I had a great night trolling Tristan Thompson, and then in between that, of course, the new Bachelor and the Bachelor recaps from Jared Freed. I just like can't get enough of it. Listen, I think Clayton is really sweet. I feel bad for him. They sent a girl in 5 hours before filming just to fuck his life up.
I mean, it's really crazy. The producers hate this guy so much. I don't know what the deal is. His you know, coming out as the Bachelor, they were like, read mean stuff about yourself that people said about you on the internet, and now they're like, let's have this girl he never met. Let's get him to fall for her real quick and then have her dump him. Like, it's so wild. And I don't know, this season feels like it's prime for hilarious stuff to happen. Like Jared Freed is just, this is his peak content. Like it's kind of, whatever. People have mixed feelings in The Bachelor. It's back to kind of like old school Bachelor. It's like the fact that he looks exactly like the host, like it's just wild. And then like all these, crazy girls, a lot of pageant girls, there's a virgin. They all say, find my person.
All of them.
Yeah. So it's going to be, I think, a lot of drama. Like Jared joked that he's like this Captain America. So these girls are extra like, that's my man, like got to have the like American dream.
Biggest hands I've ever seen on a human being. We even talked about this last night. I've never seen a hand like this.
You ever seen an underbite like that?
I've never in my life. He always looks like a thought is percolating in his head. He's not sure if he's going to be able to make it out. I think it's the underbite.
I mean, Azul's a fan because of the underbite.
Oh, we love an underbite in this family. I'm just really looking forward to it. I'm enjoying this season. I feel kind of bad for him. He seems like a little sweetie. And also really crazy. They already released who the final three are.
Yeah, I thought that was weird. I don't know if that was like that was like a bait and switch, like those real, that wasn't what he was saying to those girls. It seems weird. I feel like they gave all these spoilers in the trailer, but bottom line is he does sleep with like a whole bunch of people and like tells them, and I'm so excited.
And they're all hysterical. One of them is on these concrete steps. I'm like, girl, you're going to get...
It's so crazy because like, what do you think happened in the fantasy suite?
They were hysterical. I mean, doesn't this just happen? Don't people usually like fuck?
Well, so I know some people who used to work on the show, like pretty high up. And the story was that for the most part, men, the bachelors slept with the final three, had sex with the final three, and women, the bachelorettes typically only slept with the final two. So that was usually how it played out.
Oh, all right. Good. Thank you for keeping me up to date.
Does that kind of make sense? You know what I mean?
Yeah. I
think most empowered women are like, if you're down to two, you're not going to not fuck them. You're not going to get engaged to some guy you don't know if he can dick you down.
I'm going to be fucking. Okay.
And then the guys, like, they're going to, the second they get in the fantasy suite, it's on.
Game on.
But some of the girl, which bachelorette, she just like fucked that guy really early. That was amazing.
What was it?
I forget which one it was.
Remember like Ben Falangic? I always forget his last name. And Courtney like showed up at his house, like his room.
Ben Falangic? How do you remember that? Did you watch that?
My friend was on that season.
Courtney was one of the original, like,
Courtney was like a
villain
bitch.
hose.
Such a villain. She like snuck down to his room in like the middle of the night.
Villain slut. What an amazing character to be.
I loved her. I thought she was such good television.
Oh yeah.
I have a friend who's no longer my friend that was on that season.
Courtney and Ben. That is a deep cut.
Okay, and then I have just 3 recommendations for you guys. It's been a big week in television for me. The Harry Potter 20th anniversary reunion. Harry Potter is one of my favorite like series of all time. I read the books. I love the movies. I'm obsessed. So the 20-year anniversary, it's crazy. I don't even know how we have anything to talk about. You don't watch Harry Potter or reality TV, and we literally talk 24 hours a day. So that is on HBO. It's really just like, it's really feel good. It's like beautiful to look back on the movies. Being the Ricardos is Nicole Kidman's movie about being I Love Lucy, and I thought it was really great. It's really like kind of darker. It's about how Lucille Ball was accused of being a communist. It's a true story. It's really interesting. You can get that on Amazon. Great movie, great brand new movie. I really liked it. It was interesting. And then because it's just timely, because Our Lady and Queen Betty White passed away, unfortunately, there is a great documentary about her life called The First Lady of Television on Netflix.
A new one, or this is from before?
It was made in 2017, I think.
Okay.
Lots of great cameos from people she's worked with. She was an actress for 70 years.
Oh, she's an icon. And
yeah,
a couple things. Insane power move to let people run a cover about your 100th birthday and die 2 weeks before. Insane. What? People
let them. I mean,
no, I'm just saying, like, people did a cover like Betty's 100th birthday.
Yeah, send it to you. You were like, Betty White died. I was like, listen, she's an icon. She like went out on yours. That's wild. I was at Dwayne Reed. I turned around. I saw the people cover, and I was like, oh,
it's so wild. That cover comes out at 100th birthday. She's like, nah. Okay, and also I am reading a new book.
Okay,
about teenage influencers, fiction.
What?
Because
you guys know content about teenagers more than that,
and social media. Anything that's like social media related, any documentary, any fiction, any show, I'm in, and teenagers. So this, like, I wish this book was a show because I'd be watching the show.
What is it?
It's called Influence. My mom gave it to me for Christmas.
Listen. I'm going to walk this back a little bit. It actually does look good.
Okay, it does sound good. So I just started though, but it's called Influence. It's written by, I think, the woman that did Pretty Little Liars, and then the co-writer is like a teenager. She's a 16-year-old.
It's like when we asked Bella what's cool.
cool. So anyway, influenced by Lila Buckingham and Sarah Shepard. And I literally just started it, but I've read like the first couple chapters, but I'm into it. And I think it's gonna be like a twisty kind of like mystery. And it's about these 4 like teenage influencer girls. They're like 17 or maybe a little older. One of them just moves to LA and she's like getting in the scene. Oh my God, I'm so excited. It sounds so juicy.
It looks really good. Actually, I'll give you that.
So can't stress enough that that's my brand.
That sounds like the nicest light reading. I got like 5 books last night on cognitive therapy. That's like the body, what is it? The body keeps the score. Like I have all this like really heavy shit in my room. I'll probably like segue over to what you're reading at some point.
Well, I have this book called Animal. Frances recommended it to me and it's by the author. I forget her name. I'm blanking her name right now, but she also wrote 3 Women, which is a phenomenal book. So I'm very excited to read it. He was like, Ashley, you have to read this book. He told me a couple times and I finally was like, I ordered it.
Oh, right. Yes. Okay. I was trying to remember.
Who's it by?
Animal.
You can't just Google Animal.
The photos are adorable.
Lisa Taddeo.
Yeah.
And I haven't, this woman just like snaps. It's about like the patriarchy, I think. But again, she wrote 3 Women, which is actually this wonderful book that someone gifted us at a show. Remember that? This was years ago.
Your mom gave it to us.
I had a couple copies for
your mom loved it.
One time at a show, people brought them to us, which was like so nice. So yeah, those are pretty much our recs.
Okay, when the spring sunshine is calling your name, don't call for takeout. Get HelloFresh instead. Their quick and easy meals make feeding the family a cinch and without the high price tag. Their new fast and fresh options are ready in just 15 minutes or less. Absolutely amazing. We want to thank HelloFresh for supporting Girls Gotta Eat. Go to HelloFresh.com/GGE16 and use the code GGE16 for 16 free meals plus free shipping. There really is so much to choose from. There's 40 weekly recipes. There's something for everything. If you want to cook for kids, cook for a date night. If you're a vegetarian, pescatarian. If you want something really simple, easy cleanup, you're just in and out. Ashley and I love the sandwiches. We love the soups.
The lunches, the market. I just keep adding stuff every week. I used to have just 3 meals, 3 dinners, and now I'm like lunch, meats, market.
There really is something for every time of the day, every palate, every skill set. It's so easy to use, so creative. And this May, HelloFresh is celebrating Asian American and Pacific Islander Heritage Month. Try limited time, authentic recipes created in partnership with Chef Surbi Sani of New York City's Tagmo restaurant and enjoy a cultural taste tour right in your own kitchen. It is really so fun. You guys will love cooking it. Everything is fresh and delicious and just such a pleasure. We'll give you guys a discount so you can check it out. Go to HelloFresh.com/GGE16 and use the code GGE16 for 16 free meals plus free shipping.
So I have a story for you.
Okay.
Well, whatever. Today we're talking about communication and we'll get to it and it's kind of like, we'll explain it. But this is just a funny story that I hadn't told you yet. And it does kind of have to deal with communication.
I'm excited.
It's just funny.
Okay.
So, I haven't told this Rayna the story. I was like waiting to tell her on the podcast so I could tell her with all you guys and just see her reaction. So I told you guys that I went on a couple dates, I guess, with this guy over Thanksgiving. And I need to set the scene of what happened for this date. So this was the 3rd time we had hung out over Thanksgiving and we'd hung out. So we'd hung out a couple times before that. And I told him some things about myself, obviously. So I told him that we got to talking about, I don't even know, strip club, something. And I said that when I lived in Atlanta, I would go to the Claremont Lounge, which the Claremont Lounge, iconic landmark, old strippers. So they're like 60s, 70s, even one named Blondie. She's an Atlanta legend. And I thought it was funny to bring people there that didn't know what it was. So
yeah,
like we brought my parents there and Rob and I brought my parents there, not telling them it was a strip club. My dad walks in, he's enjoying the band. And then there's like titties in his face. Like it's hysterical to me. Like it's so funny to me. And so I would bring dates there. And like a couple times I matched with guys from out of town and I would be like, just meet me at this bar. And I just thought it was funny for them to walk in and it be like an old stripper. Like
so funny.
I just think it's a very funny thing. Maybe I'm a psycho. I thought that was a funny thing to do.
No, the Garrett in the West Village, I used to tell people to meet me there all the time. You know, the Garrett's Five Guys on the bottom. So I used to be like, we're going to this like great place. And I would take them to Five Guys. And it's just funny. I know. I'm with you.
Different vibe, but yeah. So like they would like walk in and be like, where did this girl take me? And I think it was like immediate cool points. It was like a conversation piece. So I was telling him, he was like, you would have first time blind dates meet you at a strip club for old ladies. And I was like, yeah. I'm awesome. You know? And so we kind of, I was telling him a little bit more about the Claremont. It's super divey. So this is when we were going to go out. And I told him like, I may head down to the beach later. If you have any construction sites, remember from the noise, if you have any construction sites or elderly strip clubs to recommend. And he writes like yada yada yada. Construction sites might be easier, but the workers might have the day off. Shopping for elderly retired strippers may take checking out a handful of bars and flashing the cash so they know we're VIPs. And I wrote, "Are you up for the challenge?" And he was like, "Although not typically my cup of tea, yes." And I was like, "Great." So I thought we were joking. Like there's no Claremont Lounge in Dewey, you know? So I text him. I'm like, great. It's a couple of hours later. I text him, I'm coming down. I'll be down around 6 or 6:30. What are you thinking? So he writes a couple places. This place, he goes, a Coastal Tap Room, a cantina, and we could try the Starboard before 8:30 and just in time to eat at the bar. These are places that you guys don't need to know what they are. I'll get to it. I was like, what are my eyes seeing? The only thing that really sticks out to me as a place I would go is Starboard. And I call Matt down. Matt was upstairs. We were at my parents' house. I go, "Matt, get down here." I read him this list of places. His jaw drops. He's like, "Ashley, what are those places?" He was like, "Coastal Tap Room is a dive bar, like no food. Cantina, also a dive. Just in time." He was like, "It's this old dusty restaurant." And then Starboard before 8:30, like he obviously meant when that's when the older people will be there. Like he literally went with the theme in full.
Okay.
Yeah. So I was like, I don't want to go to any of those places. Like, like the two places are like farther up.
Were you like looking at it going like, I don't want to do any of this? Like you didn't get the theme at this point.
So kind of, I was like, oh my God, like here I am like being all jokey. And he committed to the theme, which I actually thought was super attractive.
It's really cute. Yeah.
I was like, oh my God. So Matt's dying laughing. He goes, "You fucked yourself on this one." So I was like, I don't even know what to say here. Cause I'm not going to back down and be like, I was just kidding and I'm lame, you know?
No, and he wrote a theme.
So I go, "Wow, you really committed to the theme." And I said, "Let's just start at Starboard to ease in." Right. So we ended up going to Starboard to ease in. Right.
To ease into the theme.
And we kind of like lost, you know, it was like kind of like, maybe we'll make it to one of those other places, but whatever. Then we went to eat at the brewery, like not, you know, and we're sitting at dinner, we're having dinner. And I was like, I thought that was so funny that you like recommended those places. Like, I didn't know if we were joking or not. And he goes, "Yeah, I didn't know how far we were going to take the joke." And he pulls out a giant stack of cash.
No! He brought cash!
Huge stack of ones. Huge. I lost my mind.
It's so crazy.
I was like, oh my God, I lost it. So we ended up finishing dinner at the brewery at Dewey Beer Co. And then did go have drinks at the bar at Just in Time. Just in Time is so old and dusty in there. Like no offense to it. It feels like the Claremont Lounge. Like to sit at the bar in Just in Time, we're the youngest people in there by like 50 years.
Did you guys pay with your stacks of ones?
Like, I don't even know what happened in the stack. It's like, we really did it. And then we ended up at the gay bar at the Purple Parrot. But I just thought it was so funny that like, I was literally panicking and telling Matt, I'm like, I don't know what to do here. Cause I'm certainly not going to back down when I'm the person that like started this whole thing.
Also, it's just like a really cute, funny thing that somebody put any thought like that. Like a man put any thought into like a date like that. I think it's like pretty fucking cool.
I loved it. Like obviously, I mean, I actually didn't go out over Christmas. Like we chatted a couple times. Like he was just busy, you know, it was family. I wasn't there that much. I got down there really late cause I had COVID, but it didn't happen. We messaged a couple times. I don't know. So we'll see. But I will say that I'm always happy to plan a date, like, and say where I want to go. But I find it so attractive when you like say like, "Hey, what are you thinking?" And someone has a plan. Like it was, I don't want to say it was a test, but it was a little bit of a test. Like I feel like when I said like, "What are you thinking?" Like in my head, if I'm being honest, it was a little bit of a test. Like,
I mean, the first couple of days are always a test.
Yeah.
You know?
Like are you going to plan a thing? And so he was like, "I'm actually going to plan a thing and take you up on this joke and go get a stack of cash."
I think it's, listen, I hate when a guy will like pick a bar and I find out it's like next door to his apartment or something like that. Like I hate it. So like any like actual plans, and the fact that he went to a bank is really wild.
I mean, it was like so funny. It was so funny when we ended up at Just in Time at this like old ass bar with a bunch of locals. I was like, if titties came out right now, we would be at the Claremont.
You know me, if somebody takes me like 4 locations, we're just bopping around all night long, I'll marry you. Yeah. That sounds like the best date of all time.
It was the best date. I mean, we went to 4 places. 2 of them were part of the theme, but it was just really funny. And I meant to tell you that. But also, if you guys are going to propose a joke theme, make sure you're ready for it if they actually go with it.
Like if you bring up going to Dave & Buster's on a date in Times Square, you better be ready to go.
exactly it.
4 years ago, throwback.
That happened to me.
Yeah, I know. We just invent that out of nowhere.
Wait, that just unlocked that memory.
You've unlocked the next level. I always think, by the way, these kind of theme dates, things like going to Dave & Buster's in Times Square or like going to 3 or 4 different dive bars, I think that is an easy way to like weed out not a potential partner. Because like, I think we did this email also with like Jared or something years ago. And it was like, I think that's so weird that a guy would do that. And like, then that's not your person, Like I would think it was really funny to go to Times Square and go to Dave & Buster's. Some people think it's like fucking hacky and stupid and wouldn't do it. Like that's not your person. So like, I feel like if you were just like out on this date, then he could know like right away, all right, she's just like a little less fun and maybe not my person, but like you leaned in. I think you should always lean in.
I know. Like it wouldn't have been my style to be like, oh my God, I was just kidding. Like, let's just go to the Dewey Beer Co. You know what I mean? Like it worked out. Like he gave me one place I could work with and then took it from there.
I can always work with Starboard. We always can work with Starboard.
Of course.
All right. Well, we are talking about communication today. You guys know that like, I can't stop talking about this. I talk about it every week. I'm like, people are like, I get it. Rayna can't communicate well. No, my like number one goal for the year is just being better at like literally saying the thing. So if something bothers me in a situation, with a friend or a romantic partner, or we'll talk about work as well. It is my like number one goal this year to just like literally say the thing, stop being afraid to do that. I think I've mastered it at work and I'm really good at that. We'll talk about it. But, I've had some situations with romantic partners. I wish I would have said it. And I've never said a thing and really, I've never regretted it. I've never regretted communicating my feelings, but there's so many situations where I look back and I'm like, I can't forgive myself for not communicating how I felt. And you're so good at it. And so like, listen, this episode is just gonna be about Ashley.
No, it's
but Ashley is so phenomenal at this. And I think that it really is such a strength of hers to just like quickly and articulately say like, this is bothering me. And listen, I think there's a lot of people that say like, I'm not good at conflict. I don't think that you are out here being like, I'm good at conflict. Like, I don't think conflict is easy. I don't think it's easy to tell somebody I feel shitty about something. I don't think we should also be picking every conflict, but if something is bothering you, you should say something. And so we'll just talk about that today with romantic partners and friends and coworkers. You're just good at it.
I have no other option. Like people, I can't not bring it up. Like I've gotten better at not being combative in public. Also, today's episode is about conflict and conflict resolution and communication. But for the most part, like I don't want to be angry. I don't want to have a lot of conflict in my life. Like Rayna said, not everything has to be a conflict. I believe in really picking your battles. So I don't want this episode to be like, oh, I'm mad all the time. But when I am and I reflect and I realize something does bother me, I can't not say something. I've gotten so much better at taking a second and not like yelling at somebody or, ruining the night. Like I remember once I was out with 4 friends in Atlanta and one of my friends said something that pissed me off and I just brought it up in front of the whole group. And like, I was sitting diagonal to her and we fought across the other 2 girls. Like I couldn't help myself. And today I would go to the restroom, self-talk myself down. She didn't mean it, or maybe she did. And we'll talk about it later. I'm not going to ruin everyone's night. So it's never been an issue for me to bring it up. I've gotten a little more mature about how I do it. Like I remember my mom said something that really pissed me off, and my family can trigger me more. I think that's normal for everybody. Like they hurt my feelings quicker. Like they don't do it a lot. I have a great family and great close friends, but family and close friends, like it cuts a little deeper. I'm quicker to maybe misinterpret something that they say. And I remember this was a couple years ago. I remember my mom said something that like really pissed me off. And I just went and took a walk and came back and was able to be like, hey, this upset me. It's pretty rare. Her and I don't really fight, but I'm better at taking a breather than I used to be. But I also think like, so I do this with you sometimes. Like, I'm just like, hey, you said this thing that bothered me. And then you're like, oh, I didn't mean it like that or something. And then it's over. Like, I'm not like coming at you for a fight, because fights happen because you hold a bunch of stuff in and then you blow up. Literally, you're like a boiling pot. You just boil over and you freak out. So if I tell you every time something bothers me, like we're not going to get in some huge blowout fight where I'm like, you always do this. Cause like, I need to squash it early.
I actually like never really thought about that. And I think that is honestly what I want to get better about, is acknowledging something in the moment is upsetting me, because by the time I get to that point where I'm so angry, none of the individual things are really that big of a deal. You know, each individual thing is like if I observed it by itself, it's like, it means nothing. But what I'm doing is I'm taking that, I'm relating it to the last thing. Every single thing is informed by the whole other group of shit you said. And then it becomes this, like, you always do this thing, as opposed to like trusting somebody that they're not going to flip out on you, trusting that you can communicate something in a safe space, and also being able to like stand your ground. Like I let things fester for so long instead of just saying the thing. And I don't think it's fair to say to somebody, you always do this, and expect somebody to like be a mind reader that you have been upset about stuff. Because how do they know?
Yeah. And I mean, when you say you let it fester, you don't mean days, you might mean like weeks or months. Cause I think
months.
Sometimes, yeah, like you told me something that you didn't like that I did when we had our big come to Jesus, like in July or August, and it happened in May. I was like, bitch, could you not have just told me then? And we could have squashed it then. I'm like, now I got to go back and remember why I did what I did, you know, like, so I want to go back to what you said of like addressing stuff in the moment. Cause yes, some people are great at it. Sometimes I'm great at it. Sometimes I'm not. I personally think that we're not always designed to react perfectly in the moment if we feel A, attacked, B, insulted in any way, or C, caught off guard, or D, all of the above. Like you can practice all you want, but like if somebody catches you off guard or they come at you in some way, who in this world is able to react, say the perfect thing? And the main thing I kind of wanted to address that's going to carry throughout this episode is like, you sometimes react how you don't actually feel. A lot of times that something doesn't really bother you, and then you actually think about it for a couple hours or even days, and you're like, wait a minute, I actually am mad about this, or that actually really did insult me, or that really wasn't fair. And I think where people trip up is they think they can't go back on their initial reaction, which is like so wrong. And I feel like that's the main topic today, is like, you can change your mind. You often will change your mind. Like I had a friend one time, a guy friend, that called me up, which nothing wrong with that, a phone call. I just was caught off guard. I didn't see it coming. He told me this thing. I was like, yeah, no, totally. I don't care. He was basically asking if I was okay with something. And I was like, yeah, okay. Yeah. I didn't really think. He asked me a question and I responded, and like, we got off the phone. It started to sit with me more and more. Like, I actually don't like that. I actually am mad about that. That is actually not okay. And I don't even know when I texted him, it was maybe the next day even. I kind of took the emotion out of it, like let myself simmer down. And I was like, I'm actually not okay with that. And this is why. And, you know, he was like, can we get on a call? I was like, it's cool. We'll be fine. But like, I actually just wanted to be clear. And I think people think they can't go back once they've reacted. And that is not how life works. That is not how we're built. Like, we think about things, we marinate on them. We see the true meaning of why someone might've done what they did, and we change our mind.
Yeah, you're entitled to change your mind. I mean, the whole theme of like Nedra's episode about boundaries was like, just because it wasn't a boundary doesn't mean it can't be now. And just because in the moment you were caught off guard and you felt like this didn't bother me, I'm trying to placate the situation, I want to be the cool girl. I don't want to pick a fight. I want to, you know, I see this happen a lot, especially with female friends about guys. One of my like really good girlfriends told me that like a friend of hers said that she was going to go on a date with this guy who my close friend used to date. And she was like, I said it was okay in the moment. And I'm really just like, I'm upset. And I let this like has washed over me for the last couple days. And like, I can't believe she like ambushed me with this. And I said it was okay. And it doesn't feel okay. And now I don't know what to do. And I was like, it's been 2 days. Call her and tell her I changed my mind.
Yep.
You surprised me with this information. I was trying to be nice and supportive. I changed my mind. I don't support it.
I know. And this happened with me with a friend, and I was at her house and she told me that this guy who I did kind of like had asked her out. And I was like, oh yeah, no, like, cool. And then in my head, I'm like, I don't know how I feel about this, but I'm going to be calm for now. I'm in her home, and then I'm going to see how I feel later. I'll deal with it later. And I walked home and I just got more mad by the step. And when I walked into the house and called her, I knew I wasn't going to start screaming. I knew I wasn't like furious. I didn't feel the anger in my gut. I always say this, I hold, like, that's my personality type or whatever, is like holding anger in my gut. I knew I wasn't there. I knew I was going to call her and be like, hey, I'm actually really confused on how this happened and I'm hurt by it. And we talked it out. And then we've mentioned this before. I just kind of took a little break from her for a minute. She apologized. We talked it through. I just didn't feel like being around her for a week or two.
Yeah.
No big deal. We're fine now. We're close friends, but like, you know, it took me 10, 15 minutes to walk home. And I was just like, yeah, now I know how I feel. And I'm kind of pissed. And I want to hear what you have to say, because this is not what I think friends do to each other.
One of the other things I think is like really important that I actually am really proud of that I do in these situations is like, once I say the thing, like I will make eye contact with you and I will follow this conversation through all the way through. Like we're in the tunnel, I'm going through the tunnel with you. Yeah. And like, I think that like once you say the words, you have to commit to actually like having the discussion, because it can be very easy for the other person to be like, no, I didn't do that. No, that's not this. And then you just completely back down. And then like, not only have you picked a fight where like there maybe didn't even need to be a fight, but you thought there needed to be a fight. Now you've backed down from your point. Like you already made it there. You already said the words. You've already like created not a negative situation, but you created a situation where we're going to have an argument about this. Just go through it. Like I never feel bad at the end of it. Like you and I have had like the worst fights. At the end, I feel like we understand each other more. I love you more. I think you're like the best person. And I'm like, great. I understand where she was coming from. Like once I'm in it, I will keep going through it. Like, so I guess my advice is like, once you say the words, just like stick with it. Don't back down.
Right. And sometimes that means you got to prepare a little bit. You know, if you set a time to talk, for example, like Rayna and I've done before, sometimes we just start fighting. It's in a hotel, it comes out of nowhere. But we've also like, you know, when we had that big talk, we like knew we were coming here. We would like, it was, I don't know your self-talk, but like, when you know a big talk like that's about to happen, you can tell yourself like the other person might say some things I don't want to hear. I might cry. She might cry. We both might cry. This might get really ugly, but I'm going to dig my heels in and say everything I need to say, or else why do we even do this?
Okay, so one thing that really helps me, and it might sound like, yeah, duh, but like, I think that we should all do these exercises. Like when I'm like really angry, hurt, upset, like I have two friends, it's you and like my other best friend, Melanie, that I always just like run everything by. And I'm just like, am I overreacting? Is this like crazy? Like, and I talk through what I want the response to be. And you should always have people like ask for help. We talked about this in like in our Christmas episode that like you feel better now that you've like asked for help. I like always ask for help. I think I'm like a pretty empathetic person. I think I'm like pretty articulate, but like I can't see outside of myself just like anybody else. And I feel like I have these like two best friends that like Melanie leads with a lot of like empathy, and she really understands how other people, and she tries to diffuse how angry I am. And you are like, stand up for yourself and like say the thing. And like, I feel like so lucky. I have like two best friends that like come from a different place, but also just like give me really healthy, good advice. And I always run it by them. I just think it's important to talk to like an objective third party and be like, am I being crazy here? And then like, if you're going to write something, it really helps me to like write out how I feel. I'm more likely to do this with like friends than I am with like a romantic partner. What is this doing? It is so funny.
Spinning around. What are you trying to figure out where he wants to sit?
He's like, do you have a conflict with me? No. Never.
So we would never.
Oh my God, he's being so cute, guys. I like writing. I find it very therapeutic. I will make like bullet points of how I'm feeling. I try to get it out of my body. And then if it's like a friend, fine, write a text message, but I always send it to somebody to look at it first and just say like, does this sound crazy? Do I sound super angry? Again, I can't see past myself. So just send it to somebody else and see what they think of it first. If that helps, it helps me.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, one thing I think you're so great about, and I am much better about than I used to be, is taking the time to respond to something to see how you feel about it. It's something that doesn't need an immediate response, because it changes by the day. Like I had an ex reach out to me not too long ago with a really long email that brought up a lot for me, and it didn't deserve an immediate response. I hadn't talked to this person in years. So like, it was not something I needed to respond to at all. So figure that out first. Does this need an immediate response? Probably not. And I wrote out a response like a couple days later and didn't send it. And I felt totally differently by day like 5 or 6. Like it took me a minute to kind of also read between the lines and realize how I really felt about what he was saying. And I responded in such a way that I was like so proud of, like, and I ended up telling a couple friends about it, and they were like floored with like, they were just so proud of me. Like I told one friend and she was like, I'm just so proud of how far we've all come, you know, and the way that we handle situations like this and the way that this stuff would have fucked us up years prior. And I'm like, man, all I ever want to do is like make my girlfriends proud. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. That was such an example of like, I felt totally differently about this even 3 days prior. I mean, you said that you had a situation with a guy where like, he sent you this email after you guys had broken up, and what, first day you were like seeing red, second day you like wanted to like be emotional about it, third day you didn't give a fuck. Like, it's kind of, you know, you go through some emotions. So like, why not actually like go through them all and figure out how you really feel? And sometimes you just need to do that.
Yeah. Just process it a little bit, guys. Like, I mean, I appreciate what you said about me being good at it. That's really nice. We're all have like we all have our like primary reactive emotion. For me, it's wanting to like defend myself. And like, yeah, my first response to that guy was this like long, lengthy, like empathetic, defend myself, you know, try to see his side. Yeah. By the night I was fucking blind, rage, angry. And within like 72 hours, I wrote a 1-sentence email back. I was just like, good luck. You know, our body like processes things like in time, and sometimes it takes me a couple days, and that's fine too. You know, an ex reaching out, take as much time as you want. You know?
But I mean, I had a situation with a friend that I was kind of mad at something that she had done this like maybe like a year ago, and like I was gonna write her a message, and I mean it wasn't like avoiding a phone call. I was like not ready to talk to her. And so I was just going to like write her a message. I showed Kate what I was going to send to her, and Kate was like, Ashley, you can't send that. Like, it was so emotional, but it was not nice. It was like, you did this and you did this. And like, Kate was like, we're going to rewrite this. And like, clearly I walked it back. Like, I knew that wasn't final when I showed it to Kate. I just kind of like went crazy typing. And she was like, let's work on this. And you know, that's not how you approach a conflict anyway. You did this, you know what I mean? We know that I statements, but that's my, you know, you and her. I mean, I had a situation that was kind of work related where I had an email that I was kind of feeling something that had been on my mind for a minute to send to somebody. And I wrote it out and I like ran it by you. And this isn't a situation that you're directly involved in, but you can at least look at it and be like, that sounds exactly perfect. That doesn't sound too emotional, facts only. And, you know, I was basically trying to get something, and I got what I wanted. And so it's just nice to have somebody that you trust, look up to, think is mature and rational, and is not going to tell you to do something just because they want to watch the sparks fly and they just want to like live for the drama. You know, that somebody that's looking out for your best interest, I guess is what I'm trying to say, and just run it by him.
Yeah, I'm just, even if you feel like a little crazy or whatever, like, listen, women all live to read each other's text messages and emails. So like, do it. It's a fun exercise. And I realize sometimes that things sound a way that I don't think that they sound because I hear it in my voice, but you hear it in a different voice, you know? And in terms of like how much time it takes to like reach back out, like I think I've made the mistake of doing the opposite, where like I just don't say anything for like a really long time, and then it is kind of ridiculous you haven't said anything. And my brother and I like got into it this summer about something, and we're fine. He's great, but he said to me like, "Yeah, you go like weeks without mentioning this to me, or like months sometimes, and then I feel like you like don't love me. Like I feel like you don't love me enough to just like tell me that you're upset or like mention that you're bothered by something, and like that's really insulting to me." And he had like a good point. Listen, I think that like it's not fair to bring stuff up that happened months ago, like you said, because people are like, wait, what? Like you've had this, like you've just like been keeping score of all the shit that I did, and then like you just don't say anything, and then people are like, do they not respect me enough to like say something? Like most of us don't enjoy conflict, but like we all fuck up. Everybody fucks up. We're all going to hurt somebody else's feelings. We're all going to say something that insults a person. Like people can take it and they want to hear that they have like hurt you in a kind way so they can resolve it and move on. Like it would kill me to know that somebody was just mad at me for months.
Yeah. I mean, I noticed that you like more so at the beginning of the podcast, the beginning of the friendship. Like I think I think I've become better at like speaking a little bit kinder, not as blunt, not as like something that comes across just kind of bitchy, honestly. I hope I have been, but I think, you know, we used to just like get into it a little bit more, and then you just like wouldn't talk to me for days. Like you wouldn't talk to me until we like had to talk again about something. And I obviously did not love it. And I feel like you've done better at least being like, I think I'd like to actually stop this conversation or something. Like you just, you're better at not just disappearing.
Yeah, I do. It's like a problem that I will avoid something like the plague. And I've done it with like my mom before. I've done it with my brother, and I've done it with you. And like, it's not a good way to be. I'm personally coming from somebody who has done it a lot in her life. Like it doesn't make me feel any better. It makes me feel worse. I like wake up with this like shitty feeling. I go through the day and I'm like, why do I just feel anxious and stressed? Like if I just said the words, I would have felt better. Like avoiding it does not make me feel better. Yeah. You know?
Well, I'm just saying you've improved. And I think like you're quicker to be like, yeah, actually I get it. And I don't want to have this conversation anymore. And like, you know what I mean? Like instead of just being like, okay. And then just like falling off the face of the earth. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I think you've gotten way better at it.
Thank you. Well, you've pushed me. It had to be.
You're like, she's such a bitch that I actually have to.
I also think that like you have become like kinder and more empathetic, and you are easier to deal with than when I first met you too.
Easier to deal with. Yeah.
I mean, we all deserve to have have people in our life that make us feel safe, you know? And like,
Yeah.
if you have people in your life that truly you're just like, it doesn't matter. Whatever I say will be met with an argument. Whatever I say will be met with somebody who just like will not listen to me, will not empathize with me. They will never hear my side. It will always be on them. Like, then maybe that person should be in your life.
Yeah.
You know, like I think we all deserve to be with people that make us feel safe.
100%. I also just think one thing I wanted to talk about today is like, just saying the thing that you need to say. Like the other day, Rayna and I had a situation with somebody that we work with, not Bella, don't worry, like more like a different type of tier of a person. And we had a call with him and didn't ask this thing that like, kind of, we got the call and we were a little bit bothered by it. Like we were like, wait a minute, actually, hold on a second. Like, how did this happen? And then Rayna and I are sitting there beating ourselves up because we didn't further ask questions, like literally being like, God, why didn't we ask that? Like, I thought it, you thought it. Why didn't we ask? This isn't a person that we're intimidated by. We could have asked.
Not at all.
And I go, I'm going to call him. Like, I was like, fuck it. And you know what? I'm going to call him so he doesn't have time to make up a lie. And I'm going to ambush him on the phone. And this isn't, I'm not saying to ambush people. I'm saying like, this was a thing that there was a clear answer to that there was no,
I mean,
like,
he either was going to have an answer.
Yes, he was going to have an answer. He didn't need to prep for it. I say ambush in a joking way, but I was like, I'm going to call him instead of texting him. That's for damn sure. Cause I want the honest answer and I want to put him on the spot with it and just do it. Like, just do it. Like, again, this wasn't anything was on the line, but it was like, why are Rayna and I sitting here, two boss ass bitches, wondering why we didn't ask this thing? I'm going to call this motherfucker and ask. You know what I mean? Like, I just think I was like, tell me right now. You know, like that was the kind of thing I was talking about with my friend. Like, I'm just going to fucking call her. You know, like sometimes I think, you know, if it's a thing that there is a clear answer and you want it, pick up the phone and fucking ask. Like, don't beat around the bush. Don't text them. Give them a bunch of opportunities to come up with a story. Like if it's like a non-emotional, I want to answer to this thing, like don't hesitate. And I think that's in work situations, especially like, why is this way? Like, why ask? Why can't you ask?
I know. Work is scary. I mean, I was talking to you yesterday about like my time at Amazon. It was personally for me the most toxic work environment I'd ever been in, and I wasn't used to that. I worked at Groupon before that. I was like so popular there. I was such good friends with everybody. I threw all these parties for the new hires. Like it was such a comfortable, wonderful environment that I went to Amazon where it was like the worst work environment I've ever been in, and I felt like I was constantly being like accused of things that I didn't do, and it haunts me to this day that I never like went back and revisited those conversations. And I think like, listen, it's your boss. We're not saying get fired, you know, like be respectful, take your time. But like, if you have a conversation, you feel that you've been mischaracterized, because like most conversations with your boss, you are being ambushed. They know the information. They have spoken to HR. They know what they're going to say to you. You don't know shit. Mm-hmm. And you walk out of them and you're like, why didn't I defend myself? Like, go have the conversation again. Cause like, I look back at what I allowed to happen, like this landslide of issues at Amazon. And if I had just like gone back and corrected the first conversation and said like, you don't get to do this to me. Mm-hmm. Like we probably would have arrived at the conclusion quicker that like, I don't want to be here. Mm-hmm. Or the behavior would have stopped, like one or the other. But like, instead I lived in a living hell for a year. And like, it was really bad for me emotionally and with all of my friends.
And I think work stuff is always good to ask somebody that you look up to that may be a little older, that may have been in the game for a minute. I mean, my first job, like when I worked at a magazine, I was just a brat. I didn't know how to talk to my boss. I was so disrespectful, you know, like I'm not meant to have a boss. I'm meant to be the boss, but like, it wasn't good. And I just was hot-headed and I popped off, and, you know, she was a total cunt, but like, you know, it's still, I was out of line a lot. Mm-hmm. And I got fired, but like it was bad. It was a bad work environment, but don't worry, you guys, like this year in 2022, we're going to stray a little bit from some of the dating content. We're going to do work stuff. We're going to do career stuff. So I don't want to
wait her out.
Rayna waited me out. I was like, we're a dating podcast. She was like, I'll wait you out. So, we've done a little bit before, but we'll do more of it, and they won't just be bonus episodes. So we'll do some more of that this year. But one thing that I think, just a tip, because this is what I exercised recently, is always take some responsibility just in the way of like, if you're asking like, why is this? Like, why didn't I get this? Or why is this certain way? I think always be like, is there something I need to be aware of? I'm always here to talk. Like, I think sometimes people get a little combative and they don't, like, even if you know you did nothing wrong, I don't think it ever hurts to be like, is there something I'm not aware of? Like, that's his thing. That's email I sent regarding this work thing. It was like something I wasn't really getting in a area of my life that I really don't have all the control. And I was like, is there anything you want to talk about with me? You know what I mean? Like, is there anything I can work on? Is there anything I can do? Is there something I'm not aware of? Like, I always think it helps and like it softens people's reactions a little bit to be like, let me know what I can do to fix this situation. Even if you know.
Even if you're playing dumb.
Yes, yes, exactly. Like,
That's so true.
You know what I mean? Like, maybe there is something. Maybe I did something that no one's telling me. Call me on the phone. I'm here. Let's talk about it. And I think ultimately it's just, we talked about this earlier, like when you hold stuff in, it just like bubbles up. It's not good for your mental health. You're losing sleep over it. You're stressing over it. Like, I mean, I don't know, Rayna, if you feel comfortable, I'd love to have you talk about the situation you had with like someone that you dated where like you didn't say this thing and it was just kind of coming out in like an angry way and you like finally got to say it.
Well, also just to your point before about how to reframe it, like I think that you can say to somebody like, I think we have an opportunity here to have a better relationship.
Yeah,
so let's talk about it. Like just reframe it as an opportunity. When I worked for Danny Meyer, it was always like, I think we have an opportunity here for you to, but like you can use it sometimes. And that is the truth. We do have an opportunity to have a better relationship if I just say this thing to you.
I mean, language is important. Like it's really important. And when you're communicating via email, via text, whatever it may be. I mean, the email that I sent recently that like I was a little nervous about sending and, you know, it's something that had been on my mind for a while. Like what I said to you was I should be getting this thing and fuck them. You know what I mean? Like how I really felt was like not what I wrote. Because you know what I mean? And maybe a man would bust in there and act a little differently. Not how I'm going to go about it until I get pushed to it. Maybe one day. But like my first outreach about this thing was like calm and let me know what I can do and let's get this to a better place.
I had an experience where somebody wanted me to apologize to another person and I wrote something where I wrote, I'm sorry that you feel that way. And she was like, no, you should say you're sorry. And I was like, I said what I meant.
I'm not sorry.
I meant what I wrote. I meant I'm sorry that you feel that way.
I know. It's so funny.
No, I think, yeah, and I'll talk about the romantic relationship.
People are like, Ashley didn't seem sorry because I wasn't.
Yeah, you read that correctly.
Yeah. No.
You don't seem like you regret this. Oh, no, I was trying to communicate that accurately.
No, I don't. Yeah.
Super don't
fake apology.
Yeah. I think, okay, romantic relationships are really tough. There's two kinds of conflicts. There's conflicts that are like little, I want him to like eat my butthole. Like, okay. And it's just like, say the thing. I think a lot of stuff with sex, like a lot of the emails we get like from women are, we've said this in the podcast before, they're so well written. They're so articulate and then it's well thought out. There's great bullet points. It's like, I just want him to do X thing. It's like, just read him the thing that you wrote us. Just ask for the things you want. I think that when it becomes a problem in romantic relationships is like, whether you realize it or not, is like acknowledging this thing that is festering inside of you, like might be the end of the relationship, you know, because there is no like positive outcome here. And no, I mean, I dated somebody that I felt like kind of taken advantage of. And that's a real trigger for me. I've felt like that in the past. I do not want to feel like somebody is taking advantage of me. And I had like a very hard time articulating it. And I think looking back, I knew once I said it, it probably would be the beginning of the end of the relationship.
Yeah.
Now that I have like some clarity, but it's a hard thing to say to somebody that you think it's going to embarrass them, or you think it's like, if somebody's especially like a nice person, you think that like it's going to make them look at you differently. And I mean, I had a particularly hard time letting this go because obviously we do this for a living and it's very easy for me to tell other people how to behave and what's healthy and calm and rational. But when it's you all that goes out the window. When it's you, you're like, I'm fucking mad.
Yeah.
I'm mad. I don't like this. And so I didn't actually end up saying that. I revisited it after we were over, but it festered with me for months and it like made me feel so shitty to like not say the words. And it made me really mad at this person who like, I'm not really mad at. Like, I'm an adult. I could have said the words anytime. And it just like made me, it diminished how happy I felt about the relationship. And I don't think anything negative about him. I should have just communicated that. And once I finally did and got it off my chest, it was like being like released. It just,
I know.
It felt so good.
That's why I asked you, like, do you feel so much better? Because I could tell you were angry. It was like coming out. Like if you just hold in a thing you're mad about, it's going to start like seeping out of your pores. Not to me. I didn't feel like you were mad. But,
I don't even have pores.
It's just going to come. Rayna's like, I can't relate.
I am perfect skin.
You got the opportunity to say these things in a way that both parties were on board. Cause I think where this goes wrong is people that just like use this as an excuse to keep contacting an ex, for example, keep reaching out and being like, I just need closure. I need to tell you how I feel. There is a line to this stuff, right? There is a line to be like, this relationship is over and I need to put this to bed. Like you could do that for the rest of your life, right? Like you could do that for the rest of time. You could be like, I didn't say this thing and this pissed me off. You're gonna have to figure out how to do that on your own. You can't keep contacting the person that did this to you. Like, you know what I mean? I want to make sure there's like a line here that's rational behavior and that's not. There was this main thing. You never brought it up when you guys ended the relationship. It was eating away at you and you got to say it. And like, there's nothing else. You know what I mean? Like that's over. You said what you needed to say. You're good. You can look back on it in a positive light. Like, don't take what we're saying to think that you can contact your ex after a year because he did this thing.
Also, listen, I mean, it's nice to say to somebody like, I did this thing, I'm mad about this thing, and to hear their side of it too, and like what they were experiencing. And like, none of us are mind readers. I think a lot of the times, like, you just don't know what's going on with somebody else and why they're behaving a certain way. And like, maybe somebody behaved a certain way because they thought you were perfectly fine with it. People are mind readers. Yeah. So like, it is nice sometimes to like say the thing. I agree with you. Like, don't keep contacting somebody. But if ultimately like all you had was a healthy, nice relationship with somebody and like there's this one thing, then like, yeah, I don't know, you can say it if it makes you feel better. Also, somebody doesn't have to respond. You can always say something in a respectful way in an email or a text message, and like then they can respond or not.
Yeah, of course. And like there are other ways to like get an emotion like out of your body and be like, well, you know, I guess my point is, this stuff is important when the relationship is still there. And that wasn't necessarily your case, but you didn't want to leave this with ill feelings. But like, is this relationship still important in your life? That's when you got to get it out. You know, if it's an ex, an old friend, the relationship is over, different story. But like, if it's an active, meaningful relationship in your life, you're going to have to say it. I know. Because it's going to come out.
I always say, like, once I sort of like think, once the opinion appears in my brain, it like never goes away. It just gets like bigger and louder, and it's just like knocking, and it's just like, you're mad about this, you know? It doesn't ever really go away from me. And if you are somebody that's like, I can't do conflict, I am terrified, I will never do it, make a list of how you feel, make bullet points, call the person, run through the bullet points. Just like I've had to do that in the past too, where I'm just like, I cannot organize this in my brain. This is very stressful. I don't want to forget stuff. Like, make a list and call somebody.
Yeah. And again, because if you're a hothead and you feel an immediate anger about something and you know that's how you operate, to sleep on it, because you might not even care the next day.
Take some time, take a beat, talk to some friends, write it down, whatever feels healthy. But like, my goal for the year is to say stuff. And I honestly have to say, like, I have never felt worse because I said a thing. My life has never gotten worse because I communicated a feeling to another person. Ever, not once, not ever. And I have to remind myself that. And so that's my goal for the year. I feel better.
I know all you hear people say, I didn't tell him how I feel. I didn't tell her how I feel. It's like, you never hear people say, I told him how I feel and I regret it. You know what I mean?
Never.
Like, it's just not
true. It's just not a thing.
It is.
Yeah.
All right. Well, in the spirit of communication and just wanting to bring back one of our classic segments, we thought we would comb the fuck my phone folder and see some of these that we never did.
We love these. This is one of my favorite things we've done.
Yeah. So if you guys are new here, fuck my phone is just what it sounds like. It's basically, could be phone, any type of technology, something that went very, very wrong.
And if you guys are super new here, Ashley does most of the reading. So she's going to read the majority of the emails.
Okay. First email. Love the pod. I have an ultimate fuck my phone. One night mid-pandemic, I was feeling down and really wanted to order a pizza. I ordered a large Papa John's pizza and some breadsticks to drown my sorrows and hit order. It was taking forever to get here. And then the delivery girl called me and said she knocked on the door, and the people that answered said, I don't live there anymore. You don't live there anymore, bitch. I accidentally sent the pizza to my ex's house, where he now lives with his fiance. This is crazy. Who he cheated on me with. Best wishes to them. Needless to say, I was mortified and sent him a quick my bad text. Haven't talked to him since. Fuck my life and fuck my phone. At least I was able to laugh hysterically about it with my friends and move on.
That is so funny. And like, we didn't talk about this in the podcast. There have been 2 times in the last year where I have accidentally sent stuff to my old apartment where I lived with my fiance, and I had to like go to our old neighborhood and show up and knock on the door and ask the girl for my packages. It is wild when apps will fuck you like this.
I mean, let's talk about the time you sent me like a giant, like, what did you say? Giant mac and cheese, chicken fingers. You have sent burgers. Like, you've put in the wrong thing and it's come to me.
Well, because I'm over here and I order stuff a lot. And then, yeah, during COVID, I was on the roof with some of my neighbors. The 3 of us ordered a bunch of food and went to you. Yeah. Ashley was like, how'd you order this bunch of food? It was for 3 of us.
Well, I remember the one day when you just left and like we had just eaten. Maybe you were in a dark place, and like within an hour, a giant vat of mac and cheese and chicken tenders showed up. I was like, Rayna, are you good?
That was the day. I went home and I went on the roof with my neighbors.
These were different days. I remember the neighbor food. There was a burger. I gave it to the doorman.
All right.
These were chicken fingers, and it was 5 p.m. And I was like, is this what you're doing tonight, girl? They looked good too. You came over and got them, I think. The rooftop food I gave to the doorman.
That is so funny. Okay. I was on a first date with a guy from Bumble. We were having a great time. We got into a debate about something.
Hold on a second. I need to interrupt. Like,
I'm gonna let you finish.
No, we only talked about ourselves. We need to go back to that email. The fact that they open the door and it's a Papa John's pizza and this delivery girl's like, this is for Jennifer, and like this fiance has to be like, she doesn't live here anymore.
Also, I feel like the delivery driver did not need to tell you that that's what happened. Like they said you don't live here anymore,
but they do. They
burn.
Can I tell you what happened the other day? You know how when they drop it off, they take the picture.
Yeah.
Like, so have you ever opened the door before they got to take the picture?
And you're in the picture.
Like, no. I have my sweet green salad. It comes with a bag and a handle. And I opened the door because I just heard him coming.
Yeah.
And I didn't want his old to bark, whatever. I opened the door and I grabbed the bag and he was like, hold on, I have to get a picture. So I just had to stand there like holding
Did you hold next to your face?
Like it made me want to see that photo. I bet it was so ugly.
That is so funny. No, I've never done this.
Like you scoop them on the picture. Some always like to open the door when they're taking the picture.
You know what it is? You order from better delivery apps than I do. I only use the cheap ones.
Oh my God. Okay.
Okay. The next one. Okay. I was on a first date with a guy from Bumble. We were having a great time. We got into a debate about something. So I was like, let me just Google it to prove I'm right. I opened my Safari and a big photo of his face from 6 years ago on his college baseball team was pulled up. He definitely saw it. And I scrambled to open up a new tab and he never mentioned seeing it. That is crazy.
So relatable.
Ashley, if I opened up somebody's phone and there was me staring back at me with my old teeth and my old eyebrows, I would be so upset.
The guy, what a sweetheart that he didn't bring it up. I couldn't not bring it up.
Bring it up immediately.
I would just die.
I would. First of all, we're all Googling each other before dates. So like, I think it's hysterical. Somebody saw that I had like looked up their LinkedIn and he texted me like, you sneaky bitch.
Oh my God.
A photo of me like looking at his LinkedIn. Yeah, we're all out here doing it. But that is so funny.
I mean, I never really shared the details of this because it was like too close to when it was happening, but I'm just going to say it. I was going out with this guy and I just went too deep Googling him, where I found out that his father was a fireman that died in 9/11, like so heroic. And then he went on to become a firefighter, which is like, that's a really heartwarming story. To go into the date knowing that it's just too much. Rob was like, you can't continue life like this. You got to stop. So we went on the date and he finally did tell me. And I was like, I feel like I'm free and clear. You know what I mean?
It feels so good when they finally tell you.
I shouldn't have known all that.
I felt so stressed you being on the date. I felt tangential stress.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, this one is relatable to me when we get to the emoji. You guys will see why. So she says, first, I just want to start by thanking you guys. Oh, it's just a really nice message. Okay. But there is an unfortunate reason I'm writing this email. I've recently started a new job at an insurance agency. So I've been reaching out to friends, people I know for business. Today, I was scrolling through my Facebook Messenger app to brainstorm some people to reach out to. I made it back to 2018 and saw a message from a psychotic girl. I had just recently started talking to my now live-in boyfriend of 3 years. And this is the girl that he casually dated right before me. One night, she had sent me probably 20 messages saying how they were going to be together. He never liked me. I'm so stupid. His family loves her, etc. You know the type. At the time, I was not a happy camper, but now 3 years later, I decided while I was down on my 2018 messages to open it and have a laugh to myself. She probably feels so stupid now knowing we are still together and I know how crazy she is. While I was reading, I got distracted by a coworker and I sent a fucking thumbs up to the girl. Are you actually joking? I hit unsend, but it had been a good minute since it sent because I wasn't looking at my phone. I'm not sure if it sent her a notification or if she saw, but I had her blocked from messages before and that opened back up. So I had to go and reblock her and hope she didn't see and hope I didn't see her out anytime soon. If you guys are new here, my story is that there was a message from my ex and it was from weeks prior and a whole thing went down and he had wrote to me I never meant to hurt you or something like that. And I was back in the text referencing something and I just thumbs down that text.
And then he was like, Ashley,
and he
texted
texted me immediately. Do you want to talk? And I was like, I want to throw my phone in the ocean.
Then I want to go after the phone never come out.
Yeah, exactly. I'm going to throw my phone overboard.
That is so funny. What is that meme about, like, when somebody's new girlfriend likes? What is that meme I'm thinking?
Well, it's
of?
like if your ex's new girlfriend like accidentally likes a photo of yours on Instagram, you're like, we've all been there, girl. Hope you're doing well.
Hope you're doing well. That's what it is. Listen, we've all been there. I love when she wrote, you know the type. It's just like we all have that person in our mind.
Yeah.
Okay. This next one made me laugh so hard. Okay. I just started dating someone new. And for our third date, he asked me to come over on a Saturday night to his place and he would cook me dinner. Side note, we had not hooked up yet. So this is a big night for me. It's probably going to be the night that we did. So it's Saturday afternoon before the date. I'm running errands while simultaneously texting both him and my best friend. I was texting him about the time I would come over at night. And I was texting my best friend separately about a Halloween party that we were going to the following weekend. His last message to me was, great, looking forward to seeing you. And I accidentally texted him back, I'm going to look like a slut and get really drunk.
Which is the ultimate Halloween text.
It is just like the funniest text to send to a guy. I'm gonna look like a slut and I'll get really drunk.
Like, I feel like I would have.
You've never hooked up with him. He's gone on 2 dates with you. He's cooking you dinner for your third date.
This is honestly probably, I bet they hooked up that night. Like, I bet that this set the tone. Third date, they hadn't hooked up yet. That's exactly what you do.
How do you walk it back?
You send a message being like, I'm going to be a drunk slut, and be like, sorry, that was meant for someone else. Like, get his wheels turning.
I wouldn't even, at this point, I wouldn't even like walk it back. I don't even know how you walk it back. Okay. Let's just say I was so embarrassed, but luckily he understood and it was meant to be going to someone else and that I was just joking around with her. Yeah. I mean, guys are just like, okay, but like, can you please come over dressed like a slut, get really drunk?
Joking around with your friend. You were
serious.
That's what we do on Halloween.
Yeah.
We get drunk and look like sluts.
He's like, also, can you come over tonight? And get really drunk
he's like, wear that costume. Okay. So we have an update on an email that we did last time we did this segment, I think. And the original email said, this woman wrote in, she said, my divorce had recently been finalized and I had started seeing someone I knew from high school. We went to a mutual friend's wedding together. And after the night, I tried to post a picture on Instagram from the wedding and tried to tag my wedding date and somehow accidentally tagged my ex-husband since he was in my recent tag list, which caused a huge fight. Needless to say, fuck my phone. So she followed up and said, hey, it's the girl who tagged your ex-husband in a picture of me and my new man at a wedding accidentally. I know y'all enjoy receipts. So here's his screenshot of my Instagram post that he then posted on his Facebook calling me out. I was so excited for y'all to read my email update. I'm still with my new man. It's been almost 2 years and we're very happy. So
you guys, this is wild.
So her ex-husband took this screenshot that she had tagged him with her new man and shared that on his Facebook, big Facebook guy, and says, for those of you wondering, this is the kind of stuff my ex-wife randomly tags me in, pictures of her and her new man.
He did a side by side. He screenshot the activity on the left and the post on the right.
It says she tagged him
on the left and on the right. It's the photo.
Yes, he took his like notification feed. Yeah.
And put it on Facebook. He made a collage of photos.
That is unreal. See this shit my ex-wife's doing on Instagram?
That is so funny. I love that he like doubled down on it. He couldn't just let it go. Clearly he needed to tag you in this. Oh my God, this is so funny.
But maybe if they had a history where she was a little petty like that, it tracked.
That would be so funny if we were just out here tagging exes in new boyfriends' photos. I feel like
that be 2022 energy.
That should be the 2022 energy. That is hysterical.
Tag your ex in a picture with your new man.
Like we were
challenge 2022.
We want to like talk about like ways to make your ex jealous. That'll do it.
We want to? That's a topic?
Yeah, it's a topic. It's on our list.
It is?
Make them jealous. Yeah, it's there. I think you came up with it.
No, hold on a second. What?
How to make them jealous. Maybe it's not your ex. It's just how to make guys jealous. You are making.
Hold on. When did I come up with that? What were we talking about?
We were talking about how to make somebody jealous. I don't remember.
Oh, I know what it is.
Not your ex, just somebody jealous.
We know somebody that's doing a really bad job.
I know, because we saw someone fuck it up.
We've seen what not to do. It was more how to like not make your ex look at your social media and think, damn, I was right and I dodged a bullet. You know what I mean? It was like how to do the post-breakup glow up better. Okay, well, we'll do it.
Yeah,
maybe.
that's a great episode. Listen, we have tons of episodes in the tank.
Yeah,
We're really
you guys,
excited.
hope you're excited about more of us.
And less of everybody else.
But always is all.
No, we have great stuff coming up this year. I'm like super excited. I was going through our episode list. I'm very amped. So it's going to be a great year. We're excited to be here with y'all.
Yes, episode 202. And you guys can, of course, find everything, show tickets, merchandise. We are planning on having a big merchandise sale, so it might be up even today. You guys check that out. Episode list, everything at our website, girlsgottaeatpodcast.com. You can follow us on Instagram at Girls Gotta Eat Podcast. I am Ash Hess on Instagram and TikTok. Rayna is Rayna.Greenberg. Girls_Gotta Eat on Twitter and YouTube.com/Girls Gotta Eat. And we'll see you next week.
Have a good week, guys.
Bye.